Anyway, next topic here. Mass Effect. And I've been wanting to talk about Mass Effect for a minute. And only because I've been playing it so much. Mass Effect is life right now with me with Andromeda. And just to give out my first, well, maybe first or second opinions about the game so far. It's cool, but it feels incredibly generic. I mean, it's sad. Like this game feels like it's hard to describe. When I'm trying to put my thoughts into words, and it's hard to do. Because with Mass Effect, it's one of those franchises to me. I know a lot of people may not, love the franchise like that, but for me, Mass Effect is my favorite gaming franchise of last gen. It was that good, as far as not because of the games or like, oh, it's the greatest game ever, but because I think of the impact that it had and what they at least tried to do with carry over in your progress from one game to the other. So you have to look at the franchise as a whole, not as an individual game. And everybody's experience feels different. Like I could play through the game and then you could play through the game, and our outlook on the franchise would be different because we played the game a different kind of way, But with Andromeda, I know I said it before. When I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, it feels like this game, and I know the behind the scenes stuff for it. It's just, it wasn't made by their A team. It was made by their B team. And a few of the writers left, so they didn't have, the greatest writers there. Probably they didn't have the same people. But the storyline and just the theme of what they chose to go with, this feels like, the developers tried to recreate Mass Effect 1, but take elements from the second and third game to make the gameplay better, and to build on it with their own changes and things like that. But that's what this game feels like. It feels like they tried to go with Mass Effect 1 because you got like the 𝐤𝐤𝐤 driving around, or what do they call the vehicle in Andromeda? The Nomad. You got the Nomad driving all around. You got those kind of segments. You have a lot of the feel about the game feels a lot like Mass Effect 1, but the problem with all of that is, it's like you have a game. It's like somebody comes out with like a badass theme, or like a piece of music, or a great looking piece of art, right? And then you have somebody else who's like, you know what, I'm gonna mass produce that copy, and they make copies of it and sell it, right? Those copies aren't going to be as good as the original. And that's how I feel Mass Effect Andromeda is. It's like this game was made by a separate group of people who looked at part 1 and 2 and was like, okay, what sold that game? And then they took those ideas and made a game around it, and then put their own little like trimmings on it. That's what it feels like. The gameplay, like I said, is incredibly, outside of, let's say, how they made the changes to the combat a little bit and the combat system, storyline, where do I start? I'm gonna save that for the end. But character animations, garbage. Glitches, bugs, garbage. Why they released the game now, who knows? This game should have been, had like another 6 months to, a year, before release, to iron out all those problems. The facial expressions and the art and the character designs and all of that, they all look ugly. I'm not somebody who plays games for pretty characters, at least when it comes to like male characters in games. I'm not somebody who looks at that kind of sort of stuff. I really don't care. But it's just, I want to make my character look the way I want to look, and I jumped in Character Creator and it was sad. Like I had to settle. I don't settle. But I had to settle. I mean, it feels slim. It's like in today's day and age, all of the problems that Mass Effect Andromeda had, they should not have had them. I mean, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I know every game, you know, isn't perfect. I'm not saying that it has to be perfect, but a lot of these problems shouldn't be there with, you know, current gen consoles and or PC, because I'm playing the game on PC, so I don't even know how the console version looks. I'm guessing it looks, you know, even worse and even more glitches because the consoles aren't as strong as PC. But it's just one of those things where it's just the game just feels like, and it feels like a shadow of its former self. Like, at least, like I could say, at least with the older Mass Effect games, like the story, whether you liked it or hated it, it was there. You know, the music was on point. The art design was on point. I remember when Mass Effect came out, everybody was comparing it to like Halo a little bit when it came out and things like that. I remember even like I think I still got the Game Informer magazine that had Mass Effect on the cover. Like, I remember when I first read the, you know, like the preview for Mass Effect, you know, Mass Effect 1. It's just one of those franchises to me where I look at it and it's like, how could you come out with this bullshit? You know? And like everything about the game is generic. Like even the story is like damn near non-existent. Like, outside of, oh, here's this new galaxy that we're stuck in, we have to survive.
I am making progress, but the Angara
I'm like 15, 20 hours into the game. I'm on like about to hit the third main story planet quest, whatever you want to call it. And like, I don't know what the bad guys were up to. I don't even know why I'm fighting them. It's just one of those things like, oh, here's these bad guys. They're just around the galaxy doing stuff, and we gotta colonize these planets, and they're on the planet, so we gotta stop them. That's it. It feels like bullshit. Like, there's nothing attaching me to this game outside of myself having fun playing the game because I like Mass Effect. There's nothing there. The characters, outside of maybe 2, maybe Vetra. Vetra's on point with me, so she's pretty cool. Vetra and maybe PB, the Asari, the quirky Asari chick. Outside of everybody else, don't like nobody in the game. That's playable characters between female writer and male writer, or your character's dumb as shit. I feel like I'm 15 playing him, with given how the writing works, because the writing is such garbage in the game. I don't know. I'm getting off track. Because I ran on about Mass Effect for like the next hour, and I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to hear it. But it's just one of those things where I know they could have did better, and I think what they should have did as the game developers, and maybe it was outside of their hands. I mean, I'm gonna knock them because this is the product that they put out, you know, that they came out with. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I gotta give my opinion on it. You know, I mean, if they didn't want to hear the backlash, or, you know, hear the backlash from people, they shouldn't put the game out in that current state, but they did. So it's just, maybe I'm jumping down their throat too much. Maybe it was EA's fault. Maybe EA was like, yo, look, we got to get this game out. It's been like, what, 4 or 5 years since part 3. We got to come out with a new Mass Effect game. And maybe they gave them a timetable, and maybe they just couldn't perform under that timetable. I mean, it could be that too. I mean, that's business. I mean, they got to do what they got to do. But I think it's one of those things where EA should have been like, you know what? This is Mass Effect. This is like one of our biggest franchises. You think they would have learned the lesson with Inquisition, because this feels the same exact way. I swear, BioWare is one of those companies where I love them for what they do, but they learn something from every game, from one to the next, and then they take those same things and move them over into another franchise that they have. It's the same exact thing. This game feels like, because Inquisition was like that too. Inquisition, they went from Dragon Age 2 to a streamlined local experience, whatever, in this one town area, to like, oh, big open world, tons of quests, but generic main character. You know, it was less, the story was still there, but it was less character driven, whereas like part 2 was character driven and part 1 was character driven. So Mass Effect, same exact way. As soon as Mass Effect went linear with Part 2, you know, less RPG, more action, they moved that right on the Dragon Age. And with this, with Andromeda, it feels like they took the lessons that they learned with Inquisition, moved them right on into this. So it's just, I don't understand why they don't make the franchises separate as far as what they have to offer, you know? But maybe it's just, maybe they're trying to capitalize on like a particular formula and trying to appease two different crowds. Kind of like how Marvel does their movies, or Disney rather than Marvel. It's not really Marvel's way, but Disney's way. But you try to appeal to families because that's where you get the most money from. That's why most of Marvel's movies are kind of comedic and entertaining and not dark and broody and all that shit, because you'll make less money. That's just the way it is. But whereas BioWare, it feels like maybe they're trying different things in both franchises, because you have one side of your gaming audience that likes medieval stuff and the other one that likes sci-fi. So it's like two different games with a different theme, you know, but it's like the same game, different theme, you know. But it just pisses me off as a hardcore fan of Mass Effect to play this game, and it's just like, I know what it could be. I know what it wants to be. And it's like, why aren't you that? Even if, like, I would rather have, you know, give me the same experience from Mass Effect 3. Screw all of your new shit. Screw all of your older, you know, your changes and stuff that you made in the game. Just give me that. I mean, I'd rather replay another storyline with the older characters, even if it was like, you know, Shepard died at the end of Part 3. So even if it was just about his team, you know, and had, you know, introduce a new main character or a new captain of the Normandy. I'd rather have that than have this. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, there's nothing connecting me to this game at all, you know. And for me, story is like the biggest thing on my plate that I love to sink my teeth into. Like, a game has to have a good story with me. Either it has to have good story, or I have to really like your gameplay. And for me, like, it's like I said, it's you have to have story, and this game just doesn't have it. I feel the gameplay is decent. It's a good foundation, but the story's not there. The writing isn't there. So half the time, what story it does have, I'm listening to characters bicker back and forth. It's just like random kid jokes and all that kind of sort of stuff, and it's just like, it's like grading nails on like a chalkboard, YouTube. Well, when I hear certain stuff, and I'm not even somebody who like is super into like dialogue and all that kind of sort of stuff. Like, I like intelligent dialogue, but I'm not like somebody who nitpicks at every little word in the lore and all that. I'm not that kind of person. But like, you have to have something there to, you know, for me to understand your game. Like I said, I'm like 20 hours in, and the main bad guys are just baby-faced aliens that I don't understand their plot so far in the game. Why are they attacking everything? Don't know. Why, you know, what is the Scourge? This thing that we hit in the first 5 minutes of the game? Don't know. It's just, it feels like the theme behind this game, where like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, the theme of the games were, let's say, survival. The ends justify the means. Saving the galaxy, you know, typical video game stuff, right? And this, it just feels like the theme is like exploration. And that's it. You know, like, it's cool and all, but like, there's no, I was waiting for like something to drop off, like the Ket, who are the main bad guys in the game. I was waiting for them to pop off with something like, oh, they're gonna find out, oh, they know where our ship is, they're gonna destroy it, or something is gonna institute this galactic change that truly makes them the bad guy, you know. But so far, it's not there. And as far as the intelligent, fun story missions or side missions that the old Mass Effect games had, there's nothing like that in the new one. So everything just feels bland and generic when I play it. Combat is fun, but outside of that, it's just more running around and exploring. And it seems like they followed, like, beat for beat, the same story elements of like Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 that kind of like, you think they would have changed up. Like, You have a Turian on your team. You have an Asari on your team. You have a Krogan on your team. It's just like those main things. It's like, okay, I know that's Mass Effect. Don't get me wrong, from 1, 2, and 3. But you would have think that, okay, this is a new galaxy. Let's introduce new alien races. Don't put the same races in the game, or don't make, change it up. This, if you're gonna make a new trilogy of games, then make a new trilogy of games. Don't make a wannabe rehash of 1, 2, and 3. But that's what I feel. That's what I feel like, because I think this is people looking at what sold 1, 2, and 3. And then decided to make a part 4, and that's why I think that they looked at what sold that and tried to copy the same thing but put a different spin on it, and because everything is like beat for beat. But the problem is, by them making copies of like something that's original, it's not original, so it's not the same. It feels generic. It feels boring. So, or at least to me, it does. And I'm guessing to the majority of the gaming audience, it does as well, because outside of the game has been getting more attention because of its bugs and problems than because of how great the game is. And that's a problem. I know any news is good news, is what they always say, but still, it's one of those things where you want the game to be bigger and better because you want the game to, succeed. You want it to sell money and all that. And they're just taking nothing but L's like United right now. So I don't know.